Welcome to Beyond Sunday, where we take the conversation a step further to grow in our love and understanding of Jesus.
All right, welcome back. I'm Steve. Across from me, as always, is Sarah.
Hey, everyone.
Another episode. Finally getting to our Q&A series. Very excited about that. But before that, Sarah, you said you had a little bit of it's Thanksgiving time.
It is.
We're preparing for the Thanksgiving season.
Yes.
And you had questions.
I do. I have a little bit of a this or that game for you because we're pretty food driven and Thanksgiving is the food holiday, right?
Okay.
We celebrate our gratitude with food, right? Like big
celebrate our gratitude with food. I don't know how those things go together at all, but sure.
But it is the culture, right? I mean, do we not get together and have a giant meal? It might be a little
messed up that we celebrate our gratitude with food.
I don't think it's messed up. Didn't they do that in biblical times? You would have a feast. You would, you know what I mean? Like you would.
Okay, fair enough. Yes, they did feast on things to celebrate.
That's God's gift to us is like, yes, He allows us to take time to enjoy and celebrate. We do that around food.
So out of abundance.
Yes, exactly. So
and that's us worshiping God because we have this abundance in front of us.
Exactly. Yes.
And we share it with others.
Yes.
Okay.
So
very
it's a good thing. I feel like He designed this. We sometimes take it a little bit not where it's meant to go.
I'm not very big. I'm not. I don't want this to come across the wrong way because it's not that I'm against Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I don't like a lot of the traditions of Thanksgiving.
Really?
No, especially the eating part. I think it borderline can become a gluttonous affair.
It absolutely can. And that's what I mean, like where we maybe take it in the wrong direction sometimes. I don't think we are meant to like gorge ourselves. But I do think this was something that even in the Old Testament, there were festivals and feasts and you would, bring your best stuff to the meal and celebrate with those, especially like in the harvest season. It's a season of like rest and celebration and giving thanks for what God has done.
I mean, ultimately about community, it's sharing with others, right?
Yes.
Like that's the heart behind it is that we are coming together.
Yes. And it is supposed to be a posture of gratitude. All things we have are given from God. And so we are celebrating that.
I don't disagree.
And I think we are allowed to enjoy, but yes, the indulgence can definitely cross that line over into just, gluttony sometimes.
Yes, for sure. I'm not a big eater either. No, like in one sitting, I don't like to eat a lot.
Same. I do not like to gorge myself because then I'm super uncomfortable the rest of the day. I'm just like, That's when the food coma kind of kicks in. You can't do anything else. So I don't like that. But I do love food and I love all the foods. So I do love the holiday.
What's your favorite Thanksgiving food then?
Oh, all the things. I love to have a little tiny bit of everything on my plate. And I'm not one of those people that it can't touch. I mean, I don't want it like mixed together necessarily, but just give me all the things. And it doesn't have to be a ton of all the things, but I want to try every single thing. So I think I love that too. I love the variety.
Sure. And like you say, you mound your plate way more than you're giving the impression.
Don't tell people that.
It's the most frustrating thing. Because I'll have this like tiny little plate of food, and like you're like, but I can eat all of this.
I like food.
It's the Stit gene, though. Like you guys can put down food, no problem.
But again, I don't like to stuff myself, so it's little bits, but it's everything. All the things are on my plate by the time I'm done. Yeah,
the classic spinach ball.
Yes,
it's by far my favorite Thanksgiving food.
Yeah, most people don't even know what that is, but it's just a little ball of like
family thing.
Stuffing with some spinach and like Parmesan cheese. They're so good. We gobble them up. So
it's the only way to eat stuffing.
Yeah.
Quite honestly.
Yeah. Well, I do love stuffing too. I love all the foods. Like so you and I have talked about this, but if you don't know this about me, like there's 5 love languages, but in my head there's 6, and the 6th one is food, and that is maybe my primary love language.
Yeah, sure.
Someday this will probably be a problem for me. So, but in the meantime,
no, it won't. It'll be my problem.
So anyway,
right, let's hear this.
Boy, that was a big lead into it. This is not a very exciting
Got
game.
hostile.
But
right.
Just a quick this or that. You have to pick one. Okay. So we did a little bit of this Wednesday night with the teens. And
right.
you tend to have strong opinions.
I have strong opinions on everything.
Yes. So, all right. This or that, you have to pick one: pumpkin pie or pecan pie.
For Thanksgiving specifically, or in general?
Oh, Thanksgiving specifically.
Pumpkin pie, 1,000%.
Okay.
Like pecan pie to me is a Christmas pie. I do not view that as a Thanksgiving pie, as a Christmas pie.
Okay.
I don't know why that is. I think growing up, I think it was more distinct on Christmas than it was.
Gotcha.
But
okay.
You might have had pecan pie. I don't remember.
Yes.
I just remember pumpkin pie was the thing.
Okay. So outside of Thanksgiving, would your answer change?
Pecan pie.
Pecan pie. Okay.
Pecan pie. Yeah, you're not going to have a pumpkin pie at Easter. That's weird. But you can have a pecan pie.
It's definitely like a fall thing. Although I would happily eat it year round. There does need to be equal parts whipped cream on top to pumpkin pie filling. Like those
I will
need to
say,
be like a 50-50 mix for me. But
I will say your family's pumpkin pie is my favorite pumpkin pie.
Oh yeah, we do it from scratch.
I don't know if I could say that.
Like
it's the truth. Like just get that out of the way.
Yeah. I mean, those are like from scratch. And
Yeah.
they probably grew the pumpkins themselves too. Like, yes. So that does make a difference.
They're very good.
Okay. Stuffing or mashed potatoes?
I don't like either.
Okay. You have to choose one.
Honestly, like I don't like either one of those things. I'm a sweet potato person on Thanksgiving or any holiday. Like I'm not big on mashed potatoes ever.
Wow. Okay, but there's no sweet potato at the table. There's only stuffing and mashed potatoes. Which one are you choosing?
I'm probably, stuffing between the two. I like the texture better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like I don't like just like something that could just be gummed.
Yeah.
It's gross. I've never really liked mashed potatoes. I will eat mashed potatoes if they are put on my plate, but they are not a food that I'm going to ever crave.
Yeah.
I've never really cared for. No, I like smashed potatoes, if that makes a difference.
Yeah.
But once again, it's a texture thing.
Sure.
I don't like creamy potatoes.
Okay.
I want a little bit of like chew bite to it. There you go.
Yeah, I'm probably going with stuffing just because it's got a little more flavor. But I'm putting gravy over top of both of those.
Gross. So gross. I hate gravy too. I'm not a gravy person.
Okay, one more. Turkey.
Turkey.
Are you going to have it brined and baked, or are you going to have it deep fried?
Deep fried is disgusting. I'm not a deep fried. No,
disgusting.
It is disgusting. I do believe I have your family's like backing on this. I made one of the best turkeys the family has ever experienced on Thanksgiving. I'm giving myself a pat on the back because it was unexpected.
You did. It actually was. It was pretty amazing.
I had several people ask me afterwards, what did I do that made that turkey so good?
Yes. And what did you do?
As you asked, you said, would you brine a turkey and roast it, or deep fried turkey, which is just like, I feel like that's, almost a death sentence. I brined it for 24 hours in a special solution of my own concoction.
Like a secret recipe?
Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to tell anybody about it.
Yeah.
So you brined it for 24 hours and then you bake it, and it will be the most moist turkey you've ever had. Flavorful. It was, I'm not a big turkey fan, period.
Yeah.
But that turkey, that Thanksgiving, was that probably 3 years ago?
I think so.
2 or 3 years ago? That was the greatest turkey that's ever been put on a table.
That's a big statement. But, I mean, and the shocking part was you weren't necessarily like a turkey connoisseur.
Nope.
I think that was like your first time doing that.
It was my first time.
And it turned out amazing.
And
so
I feel like I rarely, Sarah knows this about me, I never vault myself or loft myself in any kind of way. I have a pretty low self opinion of myself, but I crushed that turkey that day.
It's the one thing you get to brag about.
I get to brag about it, man. I crushed that turkey. The family was happy. Everybody was asking me what my recipe was. I'm like, nah.
It's high pressure because that is the main course of the biggest meal of the year. So.
Yeah, it's the centerpiece. It's the centerpiece. And I nailed it.
Yes.
I nailed it. And I'll probably never be able to do it again.
It is one of those things where the next time it's like, why isn't this as good?
Yeah.
Every time I do something new and it turns out well, the next time it's not as good. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I did the same thing. What happened?
I'm like, I retired
yeah.
right after that.
Just
I'm
go
like,
out on a high note.
it's like, yeah, if you're a golfer and you happen to win the Masters the first time you go out,
Yeah.
I'd just retire
You're
because
done.
there's
Yeah.
no way I'm going to be able to reproduce that.
Right.
Like it was just luck.
Yes.
It was
Okay.
good.
Well,
I got my green jacket and I walked away.
that's right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well,
All right.
that was our Thanksgiving edition of This or That.
Okay. Well, today we actually have this is the episode I think a lot of people have been waiting for. We finished interviewing each one of the pastors here at our church. We still do have one more pastor that we want to interview at some point. His schedule is just a little bit more difficult because he runs his own his own church, his own campus. Pastor Tim Silker, who's just one of the greatest guys. We can't wait for you guys to get to know him a little bit. He's just got one of the best hearts in the world, and just really, love what he does. But that will probably be somewhere down the road where he has time. So this series, this Q&A series, we were so excited by the fact that the sole fact that every student that we gave a piece of paper to didn't waste that paper in writing questions. Like some people that wrote in questions wrote in multiple questions.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, like, it was like they had things that were really on their heart. Some of it was like, I just need help figuring things out.
Yeah.
It was great. In total, now here's the thing. Because I said we have 66 questions from this, which is a lot, but that's 66 unique questions.
Yes.
In total, it was probably over 80 questions because I had to combine some of these questions.
Some of them were like similar enough that basically they were asking the same thing. So yeah, combined and condensed. Yeah.
Then it was a question of how are we going to do this? Because there's so many questions. So what I did was we categorized all of the questions. We took all the questions and categorized them, and it came out to 12 different categories. So that gives us about who knows how long. Like this could be a 12-week series. It depends on how long we sit down and talk about each one of these things. Sarah, why don't you give them the categories?
Yeah. Okay. So these are the different categories that all these questions fall into. So we'll kind of hit these questions by category as we go along. So the first one is salvation, heaven, and the afterlife. And there's a variety of questions under that. The second one is suffering, evil, and death. The third one is faith, trust, and doubt. 4 is Bible study, scripture, and understanding. Lots of questions under that one.
That's the biggest category.
Yeah, yes.
Which tells me you want to understand things better.
Yeah, and we'll spend a good amount of time on those. Number 5, prayer, worship, and relationship with God. Number 6, sin, temptation, and spiritual discipline. Number 7, relationships, forgiveness, and dealing with others. Number 8, dating, marriage, and relationships. Number 9, purpose, calling, and God's will. Number 10, evangelism and sharing faith. Number 11, culture, music, and everyday life. And then number 12, theology and Bible knowledge.
And there's also a bonus category.
Yes, a bonus category.
This is just general faith questions that didn't really fit in with anything else.
Right. Yeah. They kind of one-off, like standalone sort of questions.
Yeah.
So we will cover those well. So we have a lot of content to cover over the next several weeks. And I'm so excited because we know you guys want to know this stuff. Mm-hmm. So that really helps us in digging into it. These are actual questions you have. And so I'm super pumped to get into these.
Yeah. No, so am I. And what we thought was what would be the best one to kick off this whole series with? And it's probably it was the second most amount of questions, categorically.
Yeah.
Number 1 was obviously Bible study, but we've been hitting Bible study a lot. And I hope you've been listening to the other episodes too, specifically Pastor Tim's episode, Pastor Tim Fair.
Yes.
In week 2, second week of the podcast. Mm-hmm. We were still trying to figure out our footing and stuff with recording and everything, but you got to listen to the episode because Tim has so many good tidbits. We all had good points to it. But Pastor Tim being our discipleship pastor, that is his life.
Right.
Is about getting people to understand what it looks like to be a believer of Jesus Christ, being an apprentice of Jesus Christ day in and day out. That's where his heart lies. Listen to that episode. But we will get to that category probably in the next couple weeks. Mm-hmm. We thought the one that people were going to be the most curious about and would probably tune tune the most in for is dealing with relationships.
Yes.
And this is not just romantic relationships. And you're going to figure out along with us whether or not we're going into romantic relationships this week or not.
Right.
This might be a two-parter. We don't know yet. We'll know by the time we get done with the first set of questions here, but just dealing with relationships in general, dealing with forgiveness within relationships, just dealing with others. This is a difficulty, being a good friend sometimes can be hard. So why don't we just jump right into the questions?
Yeah,
so are you ready?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you want to ask the questions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
All right. We're just going top down. I'm assuming.
Sure.
Yeah, these aren't in any particular order, but just as they're listed, we'll go down through them. So the first question is, I'm struggling to get along with my family and friends. How do I make it better?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is a difficult, and it depends on how long too you've been struggling with it. Because I mean, that the severity of it can, be the overwhelming aspect of it. Is like I've been trying so long to make things work. So it depends on where you're at with it. And I mean, this question does beg a lot of other questions. Why are you struggling with them? What is the key issue here that is causing you to have an issue with the other person? Because in general, I think this, and I'm not putting any kind of blame, but sometimes we have to ask ourselves, like, what is my responsibility within this relationship? Why do I feel like I'm struggling? Am I struggling because people just don't see things the way I want them to see them? Or are people like in opposition to what I'm doing? Does that make sense? Is that like kind of like both sides of it?
Yeah. And I think too, if when I first read this, because I think we go through seasons of like, we have like friendship issues and then we have family issues. And if we're kind of having both at the same time, typically when I'm getting frustrated with everybody, I start to realize, okay, I think actually I'm struggling with patience is what my, so it's more internal. It's more me. But there are times, there are seasons where it is, you just happen to have like things going on in friendship relationships that are just tense or hard to deal with. And at the same time, there's family issues at home that you're just kind of trying to navigate, and just everything feels hard at once.
Yeah.
And so not to necessarily say it automatically is that person. Sometimes it is like, it's me, it's my patience level is just like wearing thin. But sometimes there just happens to be situations that are handed to you on multiple fronts, and you're like, okay, I feel overwhelmed. Like this feels more difficult than it needs to be. Like, what do I do about that?
Yeah.
And so then we try to go to the Bible and like, what kind of biblical advice can we take to kind of help us deal with getting along with people better?
Yeah. I mean, there's several ways we could look at this, and biblically speaking, I mean, there's several places where it's going to tell us that we need to learn to live peaceably with people that we are in opposition with. I mean, that's one of the things that you do have to keep like tucked away. Like it doesn't matter how I'm being treated; it matters how I am treating others.
Yes.
Which can be tough because it's like we want immediate justice, but that's not God's plan for our life. That's our plan for our life, and we have to be wise about how we like really compartmentalize that. I like this. It says this in Colossians 3:13 and 14. It says, forgiving each other as the Lord has forgiven you. And above all these, put on love. Like, do your best when you are struggling with people to love them, to be praying for them, to not think poorly of them, and also not to dwell on what you don't like about people. So I think what we always learn over time is, Sarah, you probably have experienced this yourself, is like, as time heals, the wounds and pains of past issues, we start to forget what we didn't like about the person or the people or whatever we're struggling with, and we remember the good stuff, unless it's like traumatic.
Sure.
Obviously, with trauma, it's a totally different thing. Like somebody did something that has hurt you in a deep, deep way, and then that could be like a I call them pivot point in your life where it's like my life has turned course because of somebody else's actions. Not that God can't use you and still have the same plan for your life, but it does produce a difference, and it's not something you're necessarily going to look back on and be like, I only remember the good stuff about the person that did X, Y, and Z to me that like changed the course of my life in some way.
Yeah.
We're talking about much minor things,
Mhm.
like, just everyday difficulties.
Yes. Yeah. The question sounds like struggling to get along with my family and friends. So that's like, sounds like just the daily monotony of like relationships with people, and like people are difficult. We are difficult. We can frustrate one another. We can annoy one another. Sometimes it's just hard to have that extra level of patience and grace with people who are in your lives daily, and they start to drive you nuts,
Yeah.
So that's just like the reality of like being around people, that's part of the dynamic of relationships.
Yeah. It makes me think of something too that we just heard at the conference we just went to. And I don't know if it really super applies right in this section, but I think it's worth sharing. It's like we put on the fruit of the Spirit, right? Like it's very telling of where our hearts are with what our outward expression is. I forget what was the name of that woman, like with the big the hair.
With the hair. I love her.
Yeah. She was fantastic.
Yes. Dr. Megan Fate Marshman.
Yeah. Dr. Marshman
amazing
did an incredible talk.
Yes.
And like one of the things that she shared was like fruit of the Spirit it's not like these individual things. Like it is one thing. It's one fruit, and it's love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, self-control. Like those things are not individual qualities of the Holy Spirit. That is the qualities of the Holy Spirit.
Right.
And so we need to make sure our hearts are in line with the Holy Spirit. So a lot of times when we're struggling, it's because we're lacking like Jesus, not control of our lives, but like our lives being centered on Him.
Right.
Like what we're consuming isn't allowing us to produce the things that we need so that we don't struggle nearly as much. And I think that's where we catch ourselves a lot.
Yes.
And that between like, and I think that's a very important difference that, she pointed out that I never even thought about, but there's a difference. There's a reason why it's is and not are. The fruit of the Spirit are, or the fruit of the Spirit is. It makes it all like together.
It is one. It is a fruit. Yeah, because I think you're right. I think sometimes we tend to think like, oh, I mean, I'm pretty good with self-control, but like I'm not the greatest with patience, or I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, or like gentleness just isn't my gift. Well, you don't get to pick and choose. You know what I mean? The idea is you are striving to be more Christ-like, and all of that is being built within you, but you have to continually seek it and continually turn to God. I think if we, like you said, what are we consuming? What is filling us up? Because that's what's going to pour out of us, especially when we get bumped into, you know what I mean? Something rubs us the wrong way. Whatever comes out of us is evident of what we've been taking in. So what are you consuming?
What wisdom do you seek?
Yes.
Very good. All right. Next question. How many times should I forgive someone when they've hurt me?
Okay, gotcha.
Or how many times should I just forgive in general?
Okay.
This was kind of a common question.
It was. And actually it's a little bit twofold, because it talks about, and the question is a little bit lengthier, but it says how many chances should we give? So forgiveness is one thing. Re-engaging with that same person on that same level of trust is another. So let's talk about both those things. So let's talk about forgiveness first. How many times do we forgive a person?
Yeah. And according to Jesus, Matthew 18, he says, because he's asked, like, should I forgive 7 times? And Jesus says, it depends on translation. That's like 77 times, 7 times 7, like 490 times, like whatever. The whole idea here that Jesus is trying to get across is like, you forgive always. You never stop forgiving. And that's not just for that person. That's for your own heart. Like we need to let go of pain of the past, and the only way to do that is to forgive. And that means sometimes we have to forgive people without them even asking for forgiveness, just for our own heart's well-being, just for our own, like health, like, our mental and spiritual health. So we can just push forward into what God has for us next instead of dwelling on the past. Like forgiveness is important. So Jesus makes it very clear. It's like, don't stop forgiving.
Right.
Always forgive.
Yes.
But what goes along with that, and then what we have to like keep in mind is like, Jesus is not saying right here that when you forgive, that you are automatically trusting that person again. like he does call us to reconciliation, which I think we're going to get to in another question, correct?
I think so.
Like reconciliation is important, but that's not guaranteed within forgiveness. Like
Right.
does not mean that you
Mhm.
necessarily are going to be reconciled. Forgiveness is one person, a one person action. You can be asked, but it's still your decision.
Yeah.
Reconciliation is a two-person decision that we're going to make this work together again.
Right.
Reconciliation is much more difficult than forgiveness,
Mhm.
but forgiveness can be extremely difficult in and of itself because sometimes we hold on to things so that it's a self-preservation thing.
Mhm.
If I don't forgive a person, I don't forget about this thing,
Mhm.
and it prevents me from falling victim to the same issue again.
Yeah, I can't get hurt again if I keep myself guarded and keep myself. Yeah, if I keep that wall up between us.
Mhm.
And sometimes distance is necessary. You know what I mean? But in a lot of situations, like you said, we hold on to it to justify the anger or resentment we're feeling or
Mhm.
bitterness. Like it feels safer to hold on to that, but that's not what we're called to. And like you said, it's not a matter of like we're counting how many times because God forgives us every single day of our, endless sins, and He's not keeping track of how many times did we sin, today alone. Like I've already forgiven you X amount of times. He's not tracking that. He doesn't want us. That's why he kind of gave like an absurd calculation because you're not going to track. Like, I have forgiven my friend 15 times already. And like, how many more times, you're not keeping track in that way. It's a continual process of every time you find yourself getting upset or angry about something, it is then only hurting you. And so the more you hold on to that, it's damaging you internally because it's making you bitter, angry, resentful. So that is something for you to let go. In the same way that we receive God's forgiveness, we need to offer that forgiveness. And like you said, it's more for us than it is for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, because all it does is lead to us harboring hatred
Right.
when we don't forgive, harboring animosity. And it's like it's one of my quotes that have stuck with me for years. It's Kyle Idom said it, but I'm not even sure if he's like the original person that stated this.
Yes.
But it's like hating a person or like having an animosity towards a person is like lighting yourself on fire and hoping the smoke will bother them.
Yeah,
like,
right,
And like,
exactly.
isn't that the whole idea? Is like me seething here is going to do something. It's all it's doing is hurting you.
Yes.
It does nothing to that individual. So be wise in how you like. Wisdom is like the thing I'm working on right now. So I'm going to say a lot of wisdom statements.
Yes.
It's like my message series right now. But
yes. And most of the time, a lot of people don't even know you're upset with them. You could have made a comment and it like hurt their feelings, and that person's not even going to tell you. And so you don't even know that you've upset them. So if you are holding on to something, that person might not even be aware that you're upset with them. If it is something that needs to be addressed, address it. And we'll kind of get to that in a little bit. And if somebody continues to do the same thing and you keep letting them, you do have to kind of set up some boundaries.
Yeah.
Like I can't let that person have that level of access to me because they don't have the responsibility to deal with it.
Yeah.
I think Lisa Turker says that sometimes we give people level 10 access to us and they have like a level 2 responsibility with that access. And so that difference there is what can cause the pain, but we kind of let it happen. So sometimes we do have to draw boundary lines with like what level of access we give people to us. If they continually hurt us, especially if we've pointed it out and they know it and the behavior continues, okay, we have to draw some boundary lines.
Yeah. I think that's, I love that. Like having like mentally like restricted access for certain people. Like, you can't go beyond this point in my heart and in my life anymore.
Right.
Like you will have to earn that back if at all possible.
Right.
There's some people that they'll never be able to regain your trust because of repeated habitual actions towards you.
And that doesn't mean you don't forgive them, and that doesn't mean you don't love them well. But some people you have to love well from a distance.
Mm-hmm. That's right. All right. Continuing on. Doing good.
Okay.
Next one. How do I handle my friendships in a Christ-like way? So we weren't sure exactly how, in what direction this question was being asked, and so we're just going to make it more of a general statement, I guess, towards it. Our thought behind it is, I want Christ to be at the center of my friendships, right? Is that kind of how you took this one?
That's what I would assume they mean. Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's an excellent question because like we're trying to grow as believers. And so I don't want it to just be Jesus is a me thing. I want Jesus to be an us thing. I want to incorporate that into my friendships. I want this to be part of who we are. Our identity is found in Christ collectively, not my identity is found in Christ. And then when I'm together with my friends, it's, it's whatever. We're just running like however we run, like whatever we're comfortable with. And so I think an important aspect of having godly friendships is making sure that you don't fall prey to the worldly ways of friendships, right? Like we don't talk a certain way. Like I don't use language that is unbecoming of an individual. We don't speak poorly of other people. We don't joke harshly. We do everything to love people. That doesn't mean that you have to be on the street corner every day with your friend group, like preaching the gospel. But are you incorporating those things into your friendships? Are you praying with each other? Like it's so important to be praying with one another, continually. Like, do you have that? Do you have a text thread going where it's like you're whatever? I don't know. Like a lot of kids use apps. I'm not going to pretend like I know. But like, do you have something where you guys are meeting and like, hey, this is our prayer space. Like, this is how we know to be praying. Like, that's a way to incorporate Jesus into your friendships. Like, are you doing those things? Are you, and then are you incorporating that not just around your friendship groups, but like around strangers as well? Like when you guys are in the presence of others, are you inclusive or exclusive? I think one of the biggest struggles that we've run into in the years of doing youth ministries is when groups start to become cliquey. It's like the heart's like kind of in the right place. Yes. Like we love Jesus. We love everything he's doing. This is so awesome. We're praying for each other. We're meeting with each other. And then a new kid comes along and it's like, well, we already got our thing going.
Right. You have to be careful that you want to form good bonds, but not such tight bonds that nobody else can get in.
Exactly.
Because then it becomes exclusive. And then now you are excluding people that could be experiencing that same thing with you.
Exactly.
And maybe they really need that in their life. So yes, be mindful that you're always setting an example wherever you go. You have a circle of influence wherever you go, even if it's small. You are influencing the people you interact with on a daily basis. And I like to think of, so like if Jesus is our ultimate example and we are trying to be Christ-like, what did he do? So he was loving and kind to everyone. So he's always like setting that example. He's teaching well. He's meeting with people like sinners and tax collectors, but he's not necessarily like, hey, let me go dabble in that with you just to show I'm on your level. Like he's not engaging in what they're doing. So I think you can have friends that do things that you don't want to engage in, but then it does not, you don't cross over into like, let me enter into their world a little bit just to show that, you can form a relationship with people and then say, come with me. So that's Jesus' whole thing. Come with me, follow me, let me show you. So obviously none of us are Christ, so we're not going to have all the right answers, but you can say, hey, come with me to this church thing. Hey, come with me to Bible club. Hey, come with me to whatever it is that you're doing that is like a good and positive influence, especially if it's a friend that you know that they dabble in other things. They go to parties you wouldn't go to. They, you know what I mean? Hang out with friends that you know are not a good influence. You can form a relationship with them, but then your job is not to cross over into like the things that they do, but invite them into your world. If your world is, let's go do these things that are a little more edifying or purposeful. It's a fine line to walk, but Jesus did it. He's our example. So we just kind of keep that in mind as we are trying to have Christ-like friendships.
Yeah. Be an influencer. Don't be influenced.
Yes.
That's why you got like the things that Sarah is talking about is extremely important to our life as believers. Like we want to bring other people in, but are we in a place where we feel like we're strong enough in our faith to allow them to enter in and not compromise everything that we're building towards?
Yes. So, and like, let me speak to this from a personal level too. I had friends in high school. I was pretty weak-willed in high school. I was kind of like a people pleaser and go with the flow. And so I would get pulled into things that I had no business being a part of that were not good for me because I was just going with my friends and they were doing the things and I was easily influenced. And I did not I just was not strong enough at that time to say like, no, I always felt like I had to have a valid excuse. I couldn't just say, no, I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like to do those things. So for me, I had to learn, there were actually people I'm like, I can't hang out with you because every time we do, I get myself in trouble.
Yeah.
And that is a very hard conversation to
It
have.
is.
But the way you can frame it is, listen, I'm trying to set some boundaries for myself. I'm looking for some accountability. If you want to be part of that accountability with me, great. But if not, I can't engage in these things with you.
Sure.
And people can get offended by that. But if they understand that you're striving for something better, those are hard conversations to have. But I had to like, there are people I had to cut out of my life because they were bad influences.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing. It's not that I didn't love them. It's that at the time I was not strong enough to draw those boundary lines in a healthy way. So I just had to end some of those friendships that were unhealthy and bad for me. Yeah.
I there's a shame that I carry because I grew up, growing, I've talked about this before. I grew up in the church, but did not incorporate it really into my life too much, especially as a teenager. When I started getting more friends, I definitely became like the ringleader of my group. Like I was not being influenced. I was the influencer among my friends, and I was not a good influence. I was the one that was challenging them to the worldly things. They're like, oh, you guys got to try this. You got to do this. We got to try. Yeah. And I saw, I'm not taking, I do take a high level of responsibility, and like it does kind of pain me because I feel like my friends have continued on in the same patterns that we kind of set when we were in college, and I diverted. I mean, they have a responsibility ultimately to themselves. They're the ones that have to like answer for themselves. Like, but I feel guilt about doing that. So if you are that person in the group where you're like the ringleader, and it's like, I got to make the change now.
Yeah.
Like get them to see like, hey, we're going the wrong route here, and it's my fault. Yeah. If I could go back in time, I just watched Back to the Future, and I'm like, man, it'd be really cool to be able to go back and fix some of these stupid mistakes that I made. I would definitely go back and, smack my former self in the face and say, stop doing what you're doing to these guys. I don't know if they would be believers or not. No matter what the outcome is. Like I was not a strong believer at that point, so I don't know what that would mean for them. But we need to keep going, huh? We are quickly running out of time. All right. I have a hard time being patient and kind with my siblings. I love that question. Yes. Sarah, you had like a couple siblings. Did you ever have a hard time like being patient and kind with them?
Sure, yeah.
Sarah, one of 11?
Yeah. There were lots of us, and so for sure. I mean, and it's not like we had a huge house. We just had an old farmhouse. So we were lots of people kind of
on top of each other
into a small space. Yeah. The question says, how can I fix that and love them better? Which I love that part of the question because, yeah, I think you can learn over time what, sets a person off, and you can learn even yourself, what sets me off? Where do I need space? Where do I need to just, ask for a little bit of, my own, like, hey guys, I need 10 minutes to myself here, especially if you share a room with somebody. Like, I feel like sometimes it's hard to get away into your own like private space if you don't have a lot of private space in your house. But in that to say, it's all about intentionality and how you choose to treat a person. The problem with family is we're so comfortable with them. We live with them. They know all of our flaws. They know all of our shortcomings. And we're so comfortable, and it's family. So like you're going to love them forever. You know what I mean? That this is like who you were given to like grow up with. So we tend to almost like take advantage of the fact that like you have to put up with me and my annoyances, and I have to put up with you and your annoyances. And they even say that with like kids and parents. Kids will come home and like melt down in front of their parents because that's their safe place. Like your family is kind of your safe place. Yep. But in that, I think we can maybe take advantage of the fact that they have to love me at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Because we're family. So sometimes it's just being mindful of, hey, these are humans too. You know what I mean? That need love and need respect. And we can drive each other nuts when we live in the same space. But at the end of the day, this is the family God blessed you with, whatever it looks like. Families can look very unique and diverse, and they can change over time. And if God has them in your life, value that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's hard to value family when you're a kid. Sometimes they are just annoying siblings in your home.
But this does go back to what we were talking about in a previous question. It's like what pours out of me is a reflection of what's I'm allowing to be poured into me.
Yes.
And so if I'm struggling with patience and kindness, like the fruit of the Spirit is, right?
Yes.
This is all fruit of the Holy Spirit. Am I allowing Him to pour into me every single day? Because like this is what His fruit yields are all these things.
Right.
So be mindful of what you're taking in. A question that we got in another category, we'll come to it again in another week. But it was like, it's the thing of time of, I don't have time to read my Bible or talk to Jesus. You do. I'm going to challenge you and say, you do. Like it's a matter of priority.
Yeah.
Like, if your day is so maxed out with other things, you need to sit down and take inventory of what my day looks like, so that God is a portion of my day. Because we can't make more time. We all know that. It's impossible. God's the maker of time. He's the only one that can create that. We can only take time away from other things. And I guarantee you, if you inventoried your day, you would find areas where it's like, oh, I could change this and find 10 minutes to meet with God, 20 minutes to meet with God. And you'll see the benefit of that. When I'm meeting with God on a regular basis, I am far more patient with people. I'm far more loving. I'm far more kind. Like it comes across genuinely. Like we could put on a show for a while, but it cracks form really fast. Like we have to make time to meet with God so that we can pour out what He is pouring into us, and all goodness comes from Him. So if you want to be more patient and kind with your siblings, that's awesome. And we want to encourage you to keep pushing for that. But the only way to get there is by meeting with God every single day and seeing how He has been patient and kind to you. And then you just pour that out into other people.
And let me say this too, especially if you are an older sibling and you have younger siblings, you are setting more of an example than you even realize. So your younger siblings look up to you, they follow what you do, and you are setting an example. So if there are things that tend to be like habits or norms within your family that you recognize as like, we could do better, or this is maybe not the healthiest manner to do it. Like if you tend to lash out or call names or yell at each other or whatever it is, I would encourage you to just take a minute to, if you feel that coming on, first of all, pause, walk away. We try to tell our kids, like, if you feel yourself kind of like what do they call it? Like rage baiting. You're starting to get real worked up about something.
You're about to crash out.
Yeah, about to crash out. Take a minute or take 10 minutes. Like go off by yourself, collect your thoughts before you like react to a situation.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like
take a minute.
Yeah.
But it just to be able to not be so reactive, especially like I said, around the ones that we do love our family, but they do tend to take the brunt of whatever emotions we are feeling that day. If this is not part of your practice, when you screw up, when you lash out at somebody, when you call your sibling names or whatever, go apologize. When you cool down, go apologize. That might not be part of your family's practice, but make it a part of your family's practice.
Absolutely.
Set that example, show them like, hey, I shouldn't have done that. I'll try to do better. That kind of thing. I'm working on it. You know what I mean? Like tell them.
Working on it.
Tell them that, yes. And so if that is a part of your family dynamic, you have the opportunity to change that at any time. And it's little changes where you just recognize it, call it out, and then next time you'll see it and feel it coming versus it just hitting you.
Yes.
So that's another way to love them well.
Okay, we're going to go lightning round a little bit here.
Okay.
We got 2 more questions. We got 10 minutes to do it.
Okay.
All right. So next question. How do I deal with someone that keeps making me mad? Sarah, how do you deal with somebody that keeps making you mad?
I think all the same advice we just gave for
Yeah.
the siblings. Because if somebody's, but again, why do they keep making you mad? Let's get
Yeah.
back to the root of the issue. Is it something they know they are doing to make you mad? Like they have found an area to poke and they're like, oh, if I press this button, watch them flip out. Like it's just so fun for me. Like if somebody's doing something intentionally to make you mad, don't give them that satisfaction of reacting to it. Like just, you have to kind of ignore it and they will lose interest in trying to make you mad. If they don't know they're making you mad, that's a different issue. Like if they don't understand this is something that's upsetting me, then it's something you either need to talk to them about or remove yourself from that situation. You know what I'm saying? Like so it all depends on what's their intention. Are they trying to make you mad? And still, I mean, you can talk to them about it, but also you got to not react to it because that's what they want from you. But if it's not something they're trying to do, maybe it is a heart-to-heart conversation. You need to explain to them, like, hey, this really upsets me every time you do this. And maybe they just don't even know they're making you mad.
Yeah, some people, I mean, I know you're not talking from personal experience or anything, but some people just are slow on the intake. And
they don't realize, that's what I'm saying. Like some people don't realize what they're doing is making somebody else so mad because the other person's not saying it. So if it's doing damage to the relationship, say it. You know what I mean? Say like, hey, this really upsets me when you do this. That might be a hard conversation to have. Handling confrontation and conflict is a big part of our lives as Christians. Like we have to handle it in an appropriate manner, which will lead us straight into the next question.
Yeah,
but
let's hit it.
Yeah, let's not ignore it or avoid it. Like some things you do have to hit head on, and it's hard. But the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Absolutely.
So okay, that leads into the last question.
Last one. Yeah, and as we said before, we're not getting into the dating relationships and
we're like, let's see how much time we have. Well,
next week we'll hit all the hard hitting questions when it comes to dealing with relationship matters. The questions about sex, all of that will be next week.
Yes, romantic relationships is next week. This is friendship relationships,
which are so much more easy to navigate than platonic relationship. No, that's the sarcasm over the airwaves. All right, here we go. How do you help a friend that says they are a Christian or going in the wrong direction?
Great question.
It is a very good question. Like, it's first off getting them to recognize that their actions are not becoming of a Christ follower. Mm-hmm. You've probably already picked up on some of the things that we've already talked about because like this all plays together. Yes. Like that's why we categorized all this. Yes. So like as we've answered these questions, you already recognize like we have a responsibility to be accountability partners. Like when we were talking about like what do I do with my friendship groups? All those things are necessary, and you have to also be able to speak in other people's lives. And a person has to be willing to accept that and be receptive to that. Biblically speaking, like Jesus gives us guidelines to confrontation with a person. Like when they're doing when they are committing actions that are unbecoming of a Christian, like things that God does not deem good, we have a responsibility to call them on those things. In the Bible, Jesus specifically says this, I think Matthew 18, right? Is that what it was? Do you have that ready to go?
I think so. Let me pull that up. Starting in verse 15. And this says
18:15.
Yes, Matthew 18:15. If your brother sins against you, go and tell him his fault between you and him alone. If he listens to you, you have gained your brother. But if he does not listen, take one or two others along with you, that every charge may be established by the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses. If he refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church. And if he refuses to listen even to the church, let him be to you as a Gentile and a tax collector.
Mm-hmm. So what we are called to, like very specifically speaking, like if somebody's doing something that you know is not part of God's will for their life, we are to gently pull them aside and lovingly tell them, hey, I don't agree with what you're doing, and I think this is harmful to you. And then you give them time. You give them a little bit of time to make adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
If you do not see them making adjustments, this is when you bring other people into the matter, other people that care about them. It could be people in your peer group, whatever, like other fellow believers who know this person like in a deep way.
Mm-hmm.
And we all sit down, and it's kind of like that intervention kind of style where you're going to just tell them in a loving and kind way. This is not mocking them. This is not putting them down. This is not being hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
You're not judging them. You're just telling them, hey, this is something that you're doing that is wrong. And like, we want better for you. And like, we don't want you to misrepresent who we are as believers. Like, we have a shared responsibility in that as Christians. Like, if we see a brother or sister that's misrepresenting the cross, we are to call them out on it. So you take them in front of other people, like a couple other people that you trust.
Mm-hmm.
And then you give them time. Again, now when I say time, we're not talking about months and years. We're talking about like days and weeks.
Sure.
What you deem is appropriate. Like, and you can usually tell when a person's trying to make a concerted effort to make real change in their life. If that doesn't work, this is the last straw. This is the last chance. I'm going to take you before like the church. And now what are we talking about? Like church leadership, like somebody that you could trust. So like you have a friend that, that already has some level of connection with the church that you're in. Take them to meet with the pastor as well. Like, this is what we're talking about. This is the problem. And so it's an unbiased third party, essentially. Somebody that you could trust and count on. That'd be anybody within our church, within leadership in general. Now you're meeting with probably somebody that's more in that mentor group, not in your peer group, but in like, people like, trusted confidants that are like that generation above you that you can go before and like, we've tried. Mm-hmm. He's not getting it. He's not seeing it. We care about it. And if he's at this point, he probably cares about it on some level. Mm-hmm. And then you meet on it, you discuss it, and then you move on from there. And go ahead.
Yeah. And what I was going to say is, like, on a practical level, what does this look like for teens? Okay. So if you have a friend who says they're a Christian, but they are not acting like it, it is hard to go to them and say, hey, I don't know that, like, words and actions are lining up here. And you have to come to them with such a level of humility and love, because you have to recognize that you are probably also not doing everything in a perfect Christ-like manner. And they might instantly call that out back to you, like, well, you're not doing this right, so, because some people tend to get defensive and throw back at the person, so be prepared for that. And that's probably true, that you're probably not doing everything right. But if you see a blatant, like, hey, you say you're on this path, but it seems like you're doing things that are taking you on a way different path, go to them with a posture of humility and a posture of love. Like, I love you. I think God wants better for you. I think what you're doing is not leading you in that direction. But you can also say, but you know what? I don't know everything either. So, like, let's try to learn together. And you can go look up scripture together. You can go to a leader together and just try to work it out. And again, if you kind of come at them with, like, you shouldn't be doing that, you're a Christian. They could fire right back like, "Wow, you're struggling with self-righteousness as a Christian." You know what I'm saying? Like, so it can very quickly, because especially when you're approaching like a peer, you know what I mean? It's easier when you kind of in life you can see somebody who's much younger in their faith, and you can kind of help them along, and they might receive it better. But with your peers, since you're all kind of young in life and in your faith, it can feel hard to call that out, but it's not that you can't do it. I think you can do it in love and respect, and you have to come with a posture of humility, knowing you're not doing it perfect either, but you want better for each other. Yep.
Very good. Well, that is all we have for this week. Next week, like we said, we'll be hitting another pretty hard-hitting topic of dealing with sexual, romantic relationships. We want to give you the best guidance we can on that. So we hope you tune in then. We just want to thank you for joining us beyond Sunday. I'm Steve.
I'm Sarah.
And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.